Yo, 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 Joe Johnson, what's going on? Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. Welcome to WD Sports Lounge Live. We're doing something new, We are going to get interactive. We're going to discuss these things together. I haven't been online for a while. Been starting to put the videos on little by little, but I figured let's get interactive with each other in this way. Let's talk about some things. Appreciate that, Josh. Appreciate that, man. I've been seeing you interactive on the channel as well. You've been very active on the comments, and I appreciate the love and support, man. Definitely, we trying to do what we got to do over here, man, just to get the juices flowing. Why not share our opinions together? You know what I mean? We could be right, we could be wrong together. Let's do it. Let's do it like how we do it. But appreciate the love, brother. All right. Just wanted to get a few things popping before we get started. Yes, welcome to the live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live, WD Sports Lounge Live. New show, new format, something different. Today we're gonna be talking about the trade deadline. The trade deadline just went in, ended about 2 hours and 20 minutes ago, and we've had some blockbusters. Not blockbusters. We had some pretty good trades, and some of them are like pretty big for certain teams, and just sad for others. Man, Pat Riley, I don't know what to say. Well, okay. Thing about Pat Riley is this, man. Pat Riley he's not he's not a trade. I mean, he is a trade guy. Let me take that back. He does big trades when he needs to, and I guess towards the back. I mean, the earlier parts of his career when he was in the prime of the Miami Heat era, and when Eric Spoelstra came in, yeah, he was making big moves to make the team a championship contender. But the problem is now is that, you know, I think Riley is trying to go with the route of developing his players, because as you can see, they got a great farm system over there, and they develop their players really well. Two championship, two NBA final appearances with mostly undrafted players, and not so great, not top tier superstars, so to speak. I think it's more of a development thing with him, and remember, and also keep in mind, 2027 is going to be a big year. 2027 is going to be a big year for free agency. So if I know Pat Riley, like I know Pat Riley is saving all his weapons and all his moves for 2027 so he could build a contender. So what more of a bonus would it be for him to be able to have the young guys and the undrafted players, or people that's been a part of his the people that are coming in and out of the Heat, the guys that he's with right now. Can you imagine a scenario where he can do it again, take that team to a long run in the NBA playoffs? If you could imagine that, and then by 27 he puts in a superstar like John Morant, or Giannis decides to come Miami, or just different combination of different superstars that could be potentially available on 27. But I haven't really looked into who's more of a free agent. I know it's a lot of big stars. I know Nikola Jokic is going to be a free agent. I think Luka Doncic is going to be a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure how many years did he put how much years did he sign for his extension, but I know it's going to be a lot of free agents there. So I think he's just going to wait for 27. Who else is on the live? Let me see. Y'all bear with me. I'm a little new to this live thing, so I got to make sure that I want to acknowledge everybody that comments on the comment section, so everybody could be a part of the conversation. All right, so nobody's all right. So it's just been you. So yeah. So I think that's what it is about Pat Riley. But we got 10 people on the live, so hey, 10 is a good crowd. So we'll start off right there, and we can get people to go. Let's get more active. We like the likes. We got like 2 likes. Let's get up to 10 likes right now. So let's get to it. So Anthony Davis, I want to talk about this specifically. Anthony Davis was traded to the Washington Wizards for a haul, actually. The Dallas Mavericks received a lot of players, and just gonna read the name down the list just to have context for our conversation. So Dallas Mavericks receives Marvin Bagley III, Malik Branham, AJ Johnson, Chris Middleton, and OKC's 2026 first round pick, Phoenix 2026 second round pick, Chicago's 2027 second round pick, Houston's 2029 second round pick, Golden State's 2030 first round pick, and a top 20 protection that turns into a 2030 second round if they conveyed. So Dallas gets all that, and Washington gets, of course, Anthony Davis, Dante Exum, Jaden Hardy, and D'Angelo Russell. So basically, that move indicates that the Dallas Mavericks are pretty much going to build around Cooper Flag. So, but man, let's go back to how this whole thing started. How this whole thing transpired. You got the Dallas Mavericks that traded Luka to get Anthony Davis. We all knew when this whole thing first started that trade was kind of it was a big shock. What I mean? It killed the internet. It blew up the internet. It drove the NBA to a frenzy, and we were always scratching our heads as to how would you let a generational player like Luka Doncic just go for an aging player as Anthony Davis, but aging and injury prone. But let's give Anthony Davis some credit. If it wasn't for the fact that he was not hurt, I think, and he was healthy, I think he would have been a beast coming into this thing. I knew his skill set would have been complemented Kyrie and what they had going on. Now, mind you, before Luka got traded, this team was in the finals. They had a finals run, although they didn't finish the deal against the Boston Celtics. But they were prone to at least 2 more title runs had that team stayed together. But once they let Luka go, once they traded Luka to LA and grabbed Anthony Davis, and on the first game that Anthony Davis played, he got hurt. That trade automatically looked one-sided, and it was lopsided from that point. So from that point on, Anthony Davis has just been a string of injuries. Every time he gets back up from one, he falls down from another again, and it's just been the story of his career pretty much, even when he was with the Pelicans. And now it's just the guy can't get a break. He can't stay healthy, and now he's found himself in another situation where now he's with the Washington Wizards, and the Dallas Mavericks. They get a big return But for Luca, it's all that they got back for when it looks not when you look at it from a broad perspective, everything that Dallas Mavericks received from the Anthony Davis trade and going back to when Luca got traded, all that still doesn't equal to what Luca brings to the table. So I feel like the Lakers won ran away with that trade, and the Dallas Mavericks is just not. I mean, they just pretty much come to the terms. You know what? We got it. We were the NBA gods was shining upon them. They were able to get the first round draft pick, and they picked up Cooper Flag. So it was an even swap. No, it was somewhat of an even swap. They got their star. So they're going all in with him, and they're gonna pretty much build around them. So now, as far as the Washington Wizards are concerned, they're building something over there. You know, I mean, it may not be anything they're going to do this year, but they're definitely building something over there. You know, you got Anthony Davis, you got D'Angelo Russell. You know, you got also you got Trae Young. Trae Young was just recently traded over there, so now you have a pick and roll situation where Anthony Davis is great in the in the perimeter, and Trae Young is one of the best passers in the league when it comes to assisting his big man, and that's one thing that he never really had a chance to have was a true big man or a serviceable one to help him get ahead of certain things. So now he finally has this guy, but question is, can he stay healthy? That's the number one thing. You know, if Anthony Davis didn't have an injury problem or he wasn't injury prone, this would not be more of a topic situation. But it's just not. I just don't see. I don't know. I would love to see him stay healthy. You know, because Anthony Davis is he's a very great player when he is healthy. You know, I could go back to the 2020 finals when he played the Miami Heat. He was that glue that kept that team together. He was a beast mode throughout that whole playoff run. Although it was the bubble, but you know, you saw the difference between when he won that championship and the seasons after that. The difference is that he had a prolonged break. He had a 4-month extra break to recover, to be able to be healthy and do the things that he was doing in the finals. But ever since then, it's just been the regular time frame and stuff, and you know, him coming in out of shape and not in game shape, and you know, getting all these soft tissue injuries. You know, it's just sad, to be honest with you. You know, I do feel for him. I know some people look down and be like, you shouldn't feel for a guy that's making $1 million playing basketball. But even though, you know, look past the money, look past the lifestyle, and just think about the game. Think about the game and think about how long it takes to actually recover from an injury, no matter what injury it may be. You know, the grueling the grueling nature of rehab, getting up when your body's sore and you got to push yourself through. I mean, although these guys are athletes, they've been going through that their whole careers. You know, because pretty much for you to be an athlete, you'd have to pretty much put in that work in the gym, countless hours on the court and stuff like that. So your body's conditioned to be to take certain punishment and soreness. But you know, when you're rehabbing an injury, you know, you always you move differently. You react gingerly. See, I'm not a athlete, so to speak, but I've had a situation where I sprained my ankle, and just to step on it, you know, I overcompensated a lot. So imagine if I was actually doing making the movements that these guys have to do, you know, pivoting off one leg, you know, the hip rotation. I mean, all these movements, you know, the body's connected. So certain movements that you have to make to contort your body to make certain plays or have some certain defenses. Yeah, but you know, if you second guessing a injury, or you're trying to, you know, be ginger on one end, yeah, you're gonna overcompensate, and that's how injuries get worse. So I just, you know, in that sense, I feel bad for him, you know, because he has to go through all that rehab and stuff, and it's constantly something different. So I just hope that this move will help him revitalize his career to a certain point, at least, because now, you know, it's pretty much he's pretty much towards the end of his prime now. You know, I mean, it's a shame that his prime years have. I don't want to say it's not wasted, but you know, it wasn't taking advantage on more, and a lot is towards his health issues, of course. But you know, we're just hoping that Anthony Davis gets over that. But other than that, if he is healthy and this team looks like they could build something. You know, they have some young guys that have been together for the past season. They're building a nice little chemistry there. So I'm not mad at this move for the Wizards. You know, they're building something that could possibly be a threat to the East next season, definitely. So you know, giving them a full off season together, practicing and building that team chemistry. I think by next season we should see a whole turnaround of the Washington Wizards. I don't think they'd be considered the NBA Siberia anymore. You know, they'll probably have to relocate that phrase to another team right now. But I think Washington Wizards are starting to put themselves in a position to where they can start seeing the light of, you know, at least a lengthy playoff push or run. Yes, they do. Alex Sarr, yeah, they actually do. They do. They do have something to cheer for. Yes, they do. They're definitely now building something that's gonna be respectable in the East. You know, and as deep as the West is now, you're gonna finally see the East. You're gonna finally see the East be in a competitive state. You know, because you know you got the New York Knicks. Giannis is still with the Milwaukee Bucks. He didn't get traded, so you know you got the Knicks. You still got the Bucks could be in contention. If Miami Heat if Miami Heat makes a move this offseason, you know they could potentially be back in the runnings of it again. And yeah, it's a couple of teams that in the East. Tyrese Halliburton should be coming back next season from his torn ACL. Also, Tatum. Jason Tatum as well, even though the Boston Celtics are still doing great without him, but they could definitely use his help. And in other words, that the East looks pretty well to start competing even more. So I think they'll finally be in the mix and they can finally get some airtime and possibly some national games and knock themselves out of that NBA Siberia, as a lot of people like to say. WW2 Germany, yeah, a million marks. Thanks for joining the live. Thanks for commenting. I've been seeing you. I see you like the certain things as well. So I know you're a long time follower. So I appreciate the love. And so yeah, so let's continue on with this. For those who's coming in on the live right now, we're live WD Sports Lounge live. This is a special live. We're actually discussing the trade deadline and what happened and what do we think happened. How do we grade this? That should be a question I should put on the poll. How do you grade, like, for those who's coming in right now, how do you grade this whole trade deadline on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you think 1 to 5? Let's go 1 to 5. Let's keep it minimal. Do you think the actual the whole trade deadline was a splash? Do you like the certain moves that certain teams did? I mean, what do you think, man? Leave it on the comment section. Let me know what you think. All right, moving along. So this is the trade that shocked me because I didn't see this one coming. James Harden being traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then the LA Clippers receiving Darius Garland and a 2026 second round pick for him. Oh man, I don't know how to feel about this trade because Darius Garland is pretty good. and he had a great season. The past 2 seasons he had great seasons with the Cavaliers. These guys actually making it to having the number one seed for the pretty much 3 quarters of the season, but unfortunately was bounced out of the playoffs from the first round. And I think that's why they went there, because I guess they want to get someone clutch, or someone that could actually put up points and help them throughout the grind of the regular season to get to the playoffs. There is a big age difference between the two guys. James Harden is a little bit more bigger and stronger than Darius Garland, but at the same time, Darius Garland is 10 years younger than James Harden. And we also know that James Harden has not a great reputation for being a playoff stud, so to speak. He has his clips of games, where he actually does his thing and he actually put some monstrous points, but when it comes to being clutch and closing the deal, James Harden disappears. And we've seen it time and time again. We saw it with Houston, we saw it with Brooklyn, we saw it with Philly. When Philly was in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics, he put on a monstrous 40-point game in the first game, and he was there in the second game, and then all of a sudden he disappeared for the rest of the season, and Boston was able to get in. Although that was a competitive series, I think that series went to 7 games if I'm not mistaken. But when Harden needed to step up, he had a great game 6, and everybody thought that we were finally going to break the mold, and he was going to be able to take that team to the finals. But Game 7, man, he dropped that Game 7. He didn't show up, and that's just the Harden way, man. He usually just doesn't show up when it comes to certain when it comes to just being a part of the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's he just disappears. So I don't see anything different, with him being with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And for all I know, I thought things were great with him in the Clippers, but apparently there were, I guess it's usually about compensation. It's always about compensation when it comes to James Harden. When he feels like he's not being compensated well or not being valued well in the team, he definitely just automatically asks for trade out, and this was no different. And they didn't give up much for him, but I mean, Darius Garland is a big change. So, according to Bleacher's Report, they gave the Cavaliers a D+ for that move right there, and I totally agree. I wouldn't have traded for James Harden, but but then again, I'm not a coach nor am I a GM, so my opinion is just my opinion, based on what I've seen and based on the reputation that James Harden has, as far as what type of player he is in the playoffs, where he doesn't really, that energy doesn't really translate to the playoffs majority of the time. So, I don't know. This one shocked me. I didn't see this one coming. I wouldn't have. I don't really like this trade much. It's just, but we'll see. We never know. We got the second half of the season coming up. I could definitely come back in here and say I was wrong. My opinion was not valid. It was not valid when it came to this. But at the same time, it's just my opinion. I just don't think that was a great trade for the Cavs, because one injury or one unhappy situation turns that whole trade around, and you lose yourself a young player who was promising, who did help your team get to certain lengths without having certain superstars be around and stuff. Especially when Donovan Mitchell went down last year. Darius Garland was definitely a help. I mean, but we'll see what happens with that trade. But definitely, the Clippers won that trade. According to Beach Report, they gave them an A for that. So there definitely is a upside for that. Of course, Jaren Jack Jr. was traded to the Utah Jazz. Not sure what's going to happen with that. I mean, more than likely they're going to probably keep him, because he's he's a very young player and stuff. So Kristaps Porzingis to Golden State and Jonathan Kuminga to Atlanta. Yeah, man. The Golden State Warriors, man, did Jonathan Kuminga. They didn't treat this guy really good, really well over there. You know, I think Jonathan Kuminga has some good upside. He's a great player. He does fill in a lot of voids to certain teams. I just feel like he was underutilized by the coaching staff of Golden State Warriors, and giving them letting them go to another team that's giving them a fresh start. The Atlanta Hawks is they're not in the best situation either, and I don't think they're a contending team. So Jonathan Kuminga is gonna pretty much get lost in Atlanta, but hopefully it helps him regain his confidence over there, and he could probably make some noise for them. But Porzingis going to Golden State, now they're acquiring a big man who does have a shot, who can light it up in any given night. It's always comes down to health, though. Can he stay healthy and put it together for the Golden State Warriors? Is that enough, though? Do y'all think it's enough? Do y'all think Porzingis would be enough for them to get over the hump? I don't think so. I still feel that the elite shooting of Steph Curry is still second to none. He's still lighting it up at age 38, and Porzingis can help. I mean, like when he was with the Celtics, I mean, he was definitely a threat of them win. He was part of the reason for them winning a championship over there, and yeah, it's just that. It all comes down to health. It's kind of like the Anthony Davis thing. Although he's not as bad as Anthony Davis when it comes to injuries, but it still falls in that same category. So I feel like that would be a decent trade for the Warriors. Not sure if it could help them get all the way over the hump. Like I said, I could be wrong, but based on what I've seen, yeah, Porzingis when he's healthy, he does light it up, and he can make a difference in the paint as a defensive presence for the Warriors, and definitely can help Draymond and on the defensive side, on the defensive end as well. You could have that extra help. So Porzingis to the Warriors, and the Hawks receive Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield. Yeah, and Bleachers Report gives them an A for that trade. Hawks get a C. So we'll see. We'll see what it does. Jimmy Butler is out for the season, so it's really gonna be Steph, Draymond, and Porzingis. Them and putting Porzingis out there. You know, we'll see. We'll see if he could stay healthy enough to be a great defensive presence. And Zubac goes to the Indiana Pacers, which I think is a good pickup. But Bleachers Report disagrees with me. I think Bleachers Report give him a D plus for getting that. But Clippers, they're pretty much they're racking up. They got Garland, they got Kawhi Leonard, and they got a couple of they're taking away from the salary cap, and they're doing what they have to do to compete. So given that Kawhi stays healthy, there's a possibility they can make noise in the West. And of course, we did say Trae Young to the Wizards. We talked about that already. And Anthony Simon is a Chicago Bull. Excuse me, he's a Chicago Bull. I really thought Anthony Simon was gonna actually take off. when he was drafted. You know, there's so much hype behind him, and then now he's already been traded to two teams. He's on his third team now with the Chicago Bulls, and pretty much it was for salary cap. So Nikola Vucevic, Nikola Vucevic. If I'm not sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but he got traded to the Celtics as well. So yeah, there's been other trades that went down, but I just wanted to discuss the ones that really made the noises, which was the Harding trade and the Anthony Davis trade. Jose Alvarado had traded to the Knicks. That's a nice pickup. I like that one. That's a nice pickup because he was I think he was buried over there in New Orleans, man. You know, he's very talented, and I think New Orleans just didn't have the team to help to have this guy Jose Alvarado take off, because he's a threat. You know, I like his game, and him being with the Knicks right now, that adds more to the Knicks possibly getting over the hump, because they were only one series away from one series away from the finals, you know, and yeah, they're adding more pieces to take advantage of that run. Gabe Vincent to the Atlanta Fox. Oh my God. And they get Gabe Vincent, man. Gabe Vincent. Well, what happened to Gabe Vincent? Gabe Vincent was with the Miami Heat at one point. He was the man. He was that guy that made the difference of us, that helped make the difference of us winning certain games that we had no business winning when we had that championship run during the 2020 season in the bubble. But man, to see where he's come from that, where he was supposed to go to the Lakers and be additive to a championship team playing alongside LeBron, this guy just completely disappeared around the scene. He caught an injury, and that was it. We never heard from him. He was reduced to garbage minutes, and you know, sometimes I barely seen him on the bench every once in a while. And now they traded him for Luke Kennard. Now Luke Kennard is with the Lakers, and Gabe Vincent went to Atlanta, man. So yeah, man, I don't know what happened with that, because that was very telling about certain things, you know. Gabe Vincent, man. I really thought Gabe Vincent was gonna be one of those up and coming players, like a Austin Reeves, you know, type of guy that, you know, you put him with the Lakers, you know, he could be that point guard that's gonna, you know, feed the team, you know, that traditional style. But you know, I guess because the style of play is not traditionalized anymore, so you know, you don't really need a point guard these days to orchestrate traffic to be able to make plays. It's pretty much a fast break type of game, where, you know, fast break, pick and pop, you know, they'll shoot it out to the perimeter, 3-point. It's a 3-point heavy game, so the pace is a little different and stuff. So I can see why it didn't work out for him. But of course, you know, when you're in a team with LeBron James, you know, how many if you're not a superstar within your ranks, you know, how many people does actually benefit from him being a teammate, you know, because you pretty much anyone that has a name has to take a backseat to LeBron James for whatever reason, no matter how old he is at this point. You know, he's 41 years old. People are still putting out there that he has to people have to adjust to his game, not the other way around. You know, it's just, you know, everyone is just stuck on a narrative more or less than looking at the actual seriousness of the game. You know, don't get me wrong, LeBron could he can still do some amazing things at 41 years old, playing the way he's playing and stuff like that. But his play is not affecting the game. His play is not changing the game. It's not helping the team elevate to the next level, or helping them win the championship as like he was doing back in his time. So I think people are still stuck on that same narrative that, oh, this is LeBron James, you got to adjust your game to make sure that this worked, because LeBron James is like, he's pretty much the cheat code. Everybody has to just do their job around him. And I think everybody's still stuck on that same mindset, thinking that this is the same player from 10 years ago that's on the court right now. No, that's not that. That's not what's going on, man. LeBron James, he's incredible, but he's not that player. And the quicker, well, and I'm sure the Lakers understand that too. So that's why they didn't re-sign him, give him an extension. They pretty much see the writing on the wall. So, but yeah, so we're gonna hold it over here for now, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in the live. You know, although we don't have much people here, but I'm thankful and I'm appreciative of those who came in, those who commented. I just want to make sure that I was able to reply to all the comments while I was here. And yeah, pretty much so. I give this trade deadline a B minus, because like I said, there was two trades that actually did catch my attention. But other than that, I didn't really see anything of significance that might alter the landscape of the NBA, so to speak. But I think after a couple more days of commentators and people talking about, you know, the fallout of the trade deadline, I think the trade deadline is going to come and go, and the season is going to resume as such. And I think the next big thing we're going to be looking forward to is the All-Star game and the second half of the season and going into playoffs. So we'll definitely get back on to doing this again, and we hope next time around, we'll have more subscribers, more viewers. You know, all you guys that are subscribed to the channel, make sure that, you know, turn on your notification, you know, because I will start going live a little bit more often, so that way we could get interactive with each other. You know, it's really more for you for the fans, for the supporters, for the people that's been listening to WD Sports Lounge since we've been on YouTube. First of all, I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, everything that you do to keep this channel going. Although, you know, there's been times of inconsistency as far as we're concerned, to give you guys the commentary, the reactions that we started giving you in the beginning when we first started. But, you know, now we plan on being a little bit more consistent with it. And, you know, we're going to help this brand grow into a sports brand, the next ESPN, so to speak. So because we're going to keep it raw, we're going to keep it funky, we're going to keep it as real as possible. You know what I mean? There's going to be people that's going to come in here that's not going to agree with my takes, or agree with what I'm saying, or agree with my opinion, and that's all right. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has a right to what they want to believe or what they have, because that's the good thing about life. Everybody has different perspective of everything. You know what I'm saying? But what happens. We just all see it from different lens. So at the end of the day, Conversations is wide open for anybody and everybody to come in, give your thoughts, share your opinions. You know, leave whatever you want to leave on the comment section. You know, we'll definitely answer it, whether it's positive or negative. You know, we interact with everybody. So just want to say once again, thank you for the love, thank you for the support, thank you for tuning in to this live WD Sports Lounge live. This has been the WD Sports Lounge live first show. We discussed the trade deadline, but we really highlighted two blockbuster trades that happened, and we gave our opinions on that. So if you missed out, if you're just getting into the live right now and you missed out, definitely check out the video and leave your comments in the comments section. Make sure you like the video, so that way we could get back on the algorithm and we could be on front line, so this community can grow. And make sure to subscribe, because we're here to stay and we're trying to make this thing a long-term ride. So thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you on the next live. Y'all take care.